Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos.
The main character, after dying in his previous life, he wakes up inside Naruto and he starts to sell Pokemon. How is Pokemon's going to change the world of Naruto?
I am in Naruto, and the system asks me to entrust the elves to someone. Chapter 1. Naruto World. Suburban area of Konoha Village. An unspoiled hill with winding paths and lush trees in the forest. A small stream meanders beside it, like a ribbon scattered from the clouds, which is a beautiful place. However, although the scenery is impressive, there is no atmosphere of fireworks, and the overall look is a bit deserted. Brother Su Liang, I'm coming. Just then, a yellow-haired boy with a beard and a thin look was running towards a very ordinary wooden house at the foot of the mountain with a smile. At this moment, a handsome young man with regular features and a cheerful face was standing at the door of the wooden house. The young man looked at Naruto approaching in front of him with a smile in his eyes and a hint of bitterness hidden deep in his eyes. Naruto, you're here. Walk slowly, don't rush. The young man's name is Su Liang. He was originally a well-behaved young man. 3 months ago, he was watching Pokémon. Suddenly, the screen of his mobile phone turned into a black hole, swallowed him in, and then traveled to this world. When he just traveled through, Su Liang was still very excited. As a modern young man, he also reads novels when he is free, so he is still very clear about the routine of traveling through time. But before he could get excited for long, reality hit him hard. The body he traveled through was also named Su Liang and looked the same, but this body did not have the talent to practice chakra. In other words, he had no chance of becoming a ninja. You have to know that this is the world of Naruto. Without the talent of chakra, he can't become a ninja, so he can only be an ordinary person. If this body is still in its infancy, then he can still grit his teeth and work hard to practice physical skills. Although he can't be invincible in the end, at least he has no problem protecting himself. But the body he traveled through is almost 20 years old. At this age, even if he wants to practice physical skills, he basically has no special achievements. When he heard the news, he was completely dumbfounded. Anyone who has watched Naruto knows that this world is full of dangers, especially Konoha Village. In the original plot, Konoha was destroyed several times. It is impossible to say that he is not afraid in his heart. Even if he knows the plot, he still can't help being afraid. Even if he travels through time, maybe this world has also changed in some way. He has no confidence that he can survive. But just when Su Liang was desperate, the standard system for travelers appeared. A system that calls itself the Elf Entrustment System bound him. After binding the system, Su Liang's worried mood slowly eased. However, after the system was bound, it was not fully activated. Instead, Su Liang needed a store to activate it. When he heard this request just now, Su Liang almost gave up directly. This body is an orphan. His parents died during the Nine Tails Rebellion. If it weren't for the subsidy, he might not be alive until now. But the system now requires him to have a store. Isn't this a joke? He can't even have enough food. How can he have the money to open a store? Oh, it's tiring to think about it. For this broken wooden house in front, I have been getting up early and working late for the past 3 months, living like a cow. Thinking back to the past 3 months of life, Su Liang's eyes flashed with fatigue. After telling how to activate the system, it disappeared. No matter how Su Liang called it, it never came out. If it wasn't for pinching himself and feeling pain, he might have thought that the voice of the system in his mind was fake, and it was his own imagination. In these 3 months, Su Liang worked desperately to activate the system. He spent almost 15 hours a day making money, working 3 jobs non-stop. After all, time was tight. It was the 60th year of Konoha, the year when Naruto graduated. This was also the year when Orochimaru attacked Konoha. In this timeline, Su Liang had to work hard, or he might really die. But the final result was still very good, and the wooden house in front of him was the best witness. Although it was a little broken, it could activate the system. But this Naruto world is really a pit. Even if it is just a simple construction of this broken wooden house, it actually consumed the 3 months of hard-earned money I worked hard to earn. Thinking of this, Su Liang gritted his teeth. It was very simple for those ninjas to build, but he didn't expect it to be so expensive. You know, the land and wood were provided by him. This mountain was passed down from his grandfather, and the wood was cut directly in the mountain. The grandfather of Su Liang's body is a businessman. Konoha was just established not long ago. As a businessman, he felt that there was the god of ninja, Hashirama Senju. He thought that there would be great development here in the future, and then he spent everything to buy this hill. This grandfather was indeed right, and Konoha developed very well, but unfortunately, the direction of development chosen by Konoha was the opposite of this hill. In my memory, the grandfather couldn't help but die of anger on the bed when he heard the news. After that, the hill was passed to his father, and finally to Su Liang. However, it was also because this hill was not of much use to Konoha, and it could not be developed here. Otherwise, with the sinister face of the third generation, I'm afraid that the land would have been taken back long ago. It's also thanks to not developing here. Otherwise, I'm afraid that this system can't be activated. Su Liang shook his head and sighed in his heart. Brother Su Liang, what's wrong with you? And you said you would give me a powerful partner. Where is it? Naruto approached, looking at Su Liang's teeth and shaking his head from time to time with a curious look on his face. Su Liang reacted to Naruto's words with a smile on his face. Let's go, the partner prepared for you is inside. The Naruto in front of him was the one he met 3 months ago when he had just arrived and had not yet bound the system. At that time, he thought he would not be able to activate the system. In order to save his life, he met the protagonist of this Naruto world under the pressure of the third Hokage and Danzo, and treated him to a ramen meal with his remaining little money. The relationship between the two gradually improved from then on. Fortunately, even now, the third Hokage has not asked him to go over for tea. He took a step, opened the door of the wooden house in front, and walked in. The wooden house was empty, with nothing. But there was no way. After 3 months of wages to build this wooden house, there was not much money left, and the remaining money could not even buy a bed. Brother Su Liang, where is my partner? Naruto, who followed him in, looked at the empty wooden house, and his face became a little stunned. I'm afraid that even a thief would not have the heart to throw a bag of rice down in this room. Where are the partners that Su Liang mentioned? Don't worry, wait for me here. I'll go call them over now. After saying that, Su Liang walked to the back of the wooden house. Not long after, Su Liang, who had left, appeared again in the empty wooden house. Brother Su Liang, where are the partners? Seeing Su Liang walk out alone again, Naruto asked again in confusion. Su Liang smiled and took a step to the side. Look, one of these 3 may be your future partner. As Su Liang stepped aside, 3 strange-looking creatures appeared behind. A red-skinned lizard with a burning tail, a toad with a flower bud on its back, and a turtle walking upright with a tortoise shell on its back. Chapter 2. The elf entrustment, as the name implies, is Su Liang's task to entrust the elves to people in the Naruto world. Of course, this entrustment is not something you can entrust whenever you want. If the elf does not accept the person who entrusted it, it cannot be entrusted. If the elf is entrusted to someone else, and the level of the elf is improved after training, then Su Liang will get points. The points can be used to draw the entrusted elves or exchange for elf-related items. Moreover, the speed of elves' improvement will be different for different entrusted characters. The characters who have appeared in the plot will train elves faster than those who have not appeared. Moreover, after the level of the elves cultivated by the characters who have appeared in the plot is improved, the points he gets will be 10 times that of those who have not appeared in the plot. This is also the reason why he asked Naruto to come over at this time, just to entrust an elf to Naruto. The three strange creatures that appeared behind Su Liang at this time are the elves that need to be entrusted. If a modern person appeared here, he would definitely recognize that these three are the first generation of Pokémon: Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Bulbasaur. Gender: male. Classification: seed Pokémon. Attribute: grass poison. Feature: lush. The lower the HP, the stronger the grass attribute attack, up to double the maximum. Level 5, Inter Ninja. Skills: hit call. Charmer. Gender: male. Classification: lizard Pokémon. Attribute: fire. Feature: fierce fire. The lower the HP, the stronger the fire attribute attack, up to double the maximum. Level 5, Inter Ninja. Skills: catch, call. Squirtle. Gender: female. Classification: turtle Pokémon. Attribute: water. Feature: torrent. The lower the HP, the stronger the water attribute attack, up to double the maximum. Level 5, Inter Ninja. Skills: hit, tail shake. The three Pokémons are all level 5 at the moment, and their strength is comparable to that of trainee ninjas in this world, which is about the same as students who have just graduated from ninja school. Somewhat disappointed, none of the three showed any hidden features. Naruto was stunned for a moment, looked at the three great beasts, and looked at Su Liang uncertainly. Brother Su Liang, are they them? The expression was astonished. Are these the partners mentioned before? Although these three creatures are strange, they can't be called partners, right? Shouldn't partners be people? And why don't these three look strong? Su Liang also saw Naruto's thoughts, squatted down and touched the heads of the three little ones. Naruto, these three are not what you think, they are all rare good partners. And their strength is also very strong. They all have their own attributes and skills, even compared to ninjas. They are not bad. The most important thing is, if you can train them well, their strength can even grow stronger than Naruto. Naruto's eyes lit up when he heard this, and his eyes glowed as he looked at the three great beasts. His dream is to become a Hokage, and these creatures are actually stronger than the Hokage. You know, the most powerful one in the village is the Hokage. When Naruto looked at the three Goka also noticed Naruto's eyes. Charmander stood there without any reaction, as if he didn't notice Naruto. On the other hand, Squirtle hid behind Su Liang and looked at Naruto secretly. Bulbasaur looked directly into Naruto's eyes, saying something, "Ga ga ga." Su Liang noticed the reactions of the three and touched their heads again. Okay, don't worry, Naruto won't hurt you. These three Pokémon were given when the store was built today, and the system was activated. In fact, Su Liang didn't want to entrust these three to others, and wanted to train them directly by himself. After all, he loves Pokémon very much. He has watched the Pokémon anime countless times, and played the game countless times. He often fantasizes about how nice it would be if he had these cute Pokémon. But unfortunately, he cannot train them himself. Although the Pokémon provided by the system have a high favorability towards him, and he can command the Pokémon to fight, the Pokémon's strength cannot be improved if he does not find someone to entrust them to. In other words, they will always be at level 5. Under the regulations of the system, these Pokémons that are to be entrusted can only be improved if they find someone to entrust them to, and the entrusting person trains them. Brother Su Liang, can they really become better than will the Hokage be stronger? Su Liang turned his head and nodded. Yes, if you train them well, they will become stronger than the Hokage. He was a little disdainful in his heart. The elves in this world are not like in the game. There is no level cap. In this world, as long as you train them well, there will be no problem to reach level 100. When the elves reach level 100, they are almost the same as the super shadows in this world. And with the strength of the third Hokage, if he trains a level 100 elf, wouldn't it be a sure win? Even if there are 10 third Hokage, they can't beat a level 100 elf. Of course, it is obviously not easy to train the elves to level 100. Even if they can be trained, it will take a long time. When Naruto heard Su Liang's affirmation, he became a little excited and nodded repeatedly. Brother Su Liang, I want it. Su Liang shook his head. If you want them to be your companions, they need to decide for themselves. After saying that, Su Liang turned his head and looked at the three starters. This guy wants to choose you as a partner. What do you think? Jenny Tilda, Jenny Tilda. Just after Su Liang finished speaking, Squirtle poked his head out to look at Naruto, and then shook his head. Wu Tilda. Then Charmander also looked at Naruto and shook his head. Naruto, on the opposite side, showed a disappointed expression on his face when he saw this. But at this moment, Bulbasaur looked at Su Liang. Gan Tilda, Gan Tilda. Su Liang's eyes became a little confused. Bulbasaur, are you going to fight Naruto? If he wins, leave with him. Because he has a high degree of favorability with these elves, Su Liang can still understand the calls of these elves. Gan Tilda. Bulbasaur nodded, his eyes full of fighting spirit. Su Liang looked at it, then nodded. Okay, then. After saying that, he looked towards Naruto. Naruto looked at Su Liang and nodded quickly. Brother Su Liang, I accept it. I will definitely get its recognition and become its partner. Su Liang nodded again and stood up from the ground. In that case, then come with me. After saying that, he turned and walked towards the back of the wooden house. The three great families in Naruto saw this and followed quickly, especially Squirtle. Seeing Su Liang turning around and leaving, his eyes became a little scared, and his legs ran up quickly. Chapter 3. Following Su Liang, the group came to the open space behind the wooden house. He stopped and turned to Naruto and Bulbasaur. You can start here. Ga Nai Tilda. Bulbasaur nodded, came to the open space, and looked at Naruto. I won't lose to you. Naruto smiled and walked to the open space, looking at Bulbasaur. As one person and one elf were ready, Su Liang and the other two elves also looked at it seriously. Ga Nai Tilda. Just then, Bulbasaur's four legs moved quickly, and his body rushed towards Naruto at a very fast speed. Collision. Su Liang saw Bulbasaur's movement. Naruto, on the other side, looking at Bulbasaur approaching quickly, was a little overwhelmed. Bang! The next second, he was hit in the stomach by Bulbasaur, and the whole person flew backwards. It hurt so much, so much. Naruto fell to the ground, rubbing his stomach, and showed a painful expression. Ga Tilda. When Bulbasaur saw this, his eyes changed, and he turned his head to look at Su Liang with some confusion. Su Liang was also a little stunned. He understood the look in Bulbasaur's eyes, and suddenly he didn't know what to say. I have to say that Naruto is really speechless. To be honest, the difference in strength between the two sides is not much, and Naruto is even stronger. But now Naruto didn't even dodge. If Kakashi saw this, he would probably commit suicide. Just when Su Liang was thinking about this, Naruto stood up from the ground, and his eyes became a little surprised. Okay, now it's my turn. I must make you my partner. Multiple shadow clone technique. Puff tilde. A cloud of smoke appeared out of thin air, and then dozens of Naruto appeared on the open ground. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the three families were all surprised. Ga Nai tilde. After being surprised, Bulbasaur nodded with satisfaction. His eyes were not afraid, and he was full of fighting spirit again. Then the two vines on the flower bud on his back slowly stretched out, and then rushed towards Naruto again. Everyone, let's go too. Naruto saw this action, said something, and rushed forward. In the blink of an eye, the two sides collided with each other, and Bulbasaur's vines danced quickly. Wherever they went, the shadow clones exploded one by one, and the sound of puffing continued to sound, turning into a group of white smoke drifting away. However, this situation did not last long. Naruto quickly seized the opportunity, and several shadow clones surrounded Bulbasaur and quickly launched an attack. Bulbasaur's eyes also changed, and he roared, Ga Nai tilde. As the cry sounded, the shadow clones around were stunned for a moment, and then they were hit by the vines. Call! Su Liang's eyes lit up. As a die-hard Pokémon fan, he could see this. But what he didn't expect was that such a low-level skill as Call could actually have such power. Naruto, on the battlefield, didn't know what Su Liang was thinking at this time. Seeing Bulbasaur solve all his shadow clones, his eyes became brighter. Although all the shadow clones were solved, he was not angry at all, but became happier. This shows that Bulbasaur is really strong. Maybe he will become stronger than Naruto in the end. Next, the multiple shadow clone technique. Naruto's chakra burst out, and a group of shadow clones appeared on the open ground again. Compared with the last time, there were more this time. Gah! Gah! Bulbasaur looked a little stupid. He wanted to say in his heart that he couldn't afford to play. Isn't this cheating? How can he fight? Su Liang's mouth twitched, and he didn't know what to say. He felt that Bulbasaur was a little pitiful. He finally solved the shadow clone, but it didn't even take a minute for the shadow clone to appear again. I won't lose. Naruto's eyes were firm, and he didn't notice that the eyes around him had changed. After saying a word, he rushed towards Bulbasaur again with the shadow clone. Ga ni tilde. Seeing the shadow clone approaching again, Bulbasaur immediately turned around and ran towards Su Liang, saying something while running. Don't run, come again. I will defeat you and become my partner. Naruto and dozens of shadow clones around him chased Bulbasaur closely from behind. Soon he came in front of Su Liang and looked at Bulbasaur, who had squeezed Squirtle away and hid behind Su Liang. Come on, let's continue fighting. Su Liang couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Remove the shadow clone. Clone, Bulbasaur just said that it promised you and will be your partner in the future. As Su Liang said this, Bulbasaur nodded. Ga ni ni. Naruto was stunned for a moment, but he also released the shadow clone and scratched his head. Jenny tilde. At this time, Squirtle pulled Su Liang's feet, looked at it pitifully, and pointed at Bulbasaur from time to time. Su Liang touched Squirtle's head, picked it up from the ground, and then pulled out Bulbasaur behind him, looking at Naruto and said, Okay, don't think too much. Since Bulbasaur has agreed to go with you, it will be your partner. Really? Brother Su Liang. Naruto looked over with a shining look in his eyes. Su Liang nodded. Really, but there is one thing I want to tell you. If you are not good to Bulbasaur, then I will take it back, and I will not let you go easily. After all, he entrusted the elves to him. If something went wrong, he would feel uncomfortable. When Naruto heard this, he nodded seriously and looked at Bulbasaur. Brother Su Liang, don't worry, I will treat Bulbasaur well. Su Liang nodded. Okay. Then he looked at Bulbasaur, squatted down and touched its head. You can't be naughty, and be careful when you go out. This world is very dangerous. If you are bullied by others, remember to find me, and I will help you get revenge. Ga ni tilde. When Bulbasaur heard Su Liang's words, he waved the vine on his back. Su Liang couldn't help rolling his eyes. Okay, I know you are powerful, but remember my words. Bulbasaur nodded. Ga ni. Su Liang didn't say much, stood up, and continued to look at Naruto. Okay, you can take it away. Naruto picked up Bulbasaur from the ground, his eyes full of surprise. Brother Su Liang, I will often bring Bulbasaur back to see you in the future. After saying that, he ran outside excitedly. Su Liang could guess from his appearance that he was probably going out to show off. Su Liang did not stop him. After all, it was good to do so. Maybe he could bring him a few customers. He shook his head and didn't think about it anymore. Entrust the first Pokémon, mission completed, get 1 novice gift pack. Entrust a plot character Pokémon, reward 1,000 points, bronze exclusive treasure, chest *1. Chapter 4. On the streets of Konoha. The environment here is opposite to the mountain where Su Liang is located. There are people coming and going on the streets, and all kinds of shops are lined up around. The pedestrians are bustling, and from time to time there are a few ninjas wearing vests passing by, which looks very lively. However, what is different from the past is that today the pedestrians on the street look in one direction from time to time. In the direction of everyone's sight, I saw a familiar kid walking on the road with a very strange-looking turtle. Bulbasaur, we must work hard together in the future. My dream is to become a Hokage, and then you will be the partner of the Hokage. Ga tilde. The Bulbasaur following next to him had no interest in what Naruto said, and his eyes did not even look over. His eyes were always on the buildings and pedestrians next to him, full of curiosity. Naruto, what are you doing? Just then, a boy of the same age as Naruto walked on the street, looking at Naruto and the Bulbasaur next to him with puzzled eyes. It's Kiba and Akamaru. Hearing the voice, Naruto looked over, and after seeing Kiba and Akamaru on his head, he said hello. Kiba moved closer, curiously looking at Bulbasaur next to him. Naruto, what is this green turtle? Is it your summoning beast? Gan. Before Naruto answered this, Bulbasaur couldn't help it and stepped forward to rush over. He couldn't help but get angry. How dare the silly boy in front call it a green turtle? However, Naruto next to him noticed Bulbasaur's action and quickly picked it up from the ground. Bulbasaur, calm down, calm down. Gan tilde, Gan tilde. Bulbasaur didn't listen to this and struggled madly with Naruto's hands. Naruto didn't know what to do and said to Kiba opposite him, Kiba, go quickly, Bulbasaur is angry. He didn't want Bulbasaur and Kiba to have anything bad happen in the end. On the other side, his expression changed when he heard what Naruto said. Naruto, put it down, I won't bully it, just let Akamaru play with it. Naruto's words just now clearly showed his contempt for him. He was already a genin, and now he was asked to leave. And it was because of such a small, summoning beast. Is he shameless? If he really left, would he still be a ninja? Woof woof tilde. Akamaru on the head also nodded, looking at the struggling Bulbasaur in Naruto's arms. This little green turtle doesn't seem to have any chakra aura. Isn't this just a casual fight? Naruto was a little troubled. Bulbasaur is very powerful, yeah, you should not want it. Put it down quickly, put it down for me. It would be better if he didn't hear this, but how could he bear it after hearing it? This is more or less looking down on me. What does it mean to be very powerful? Can't I beat it? Okay. Looking at Kiba's serious look, Naruto nodded and then touched Bulbasaur's head. Bulbasaur, be gentle. Don't beat Akamaru too badly. Gar tilde. Bulbasaur, who landed on the ground, nodded after hearing this and looked at Akamaru. Such a small one, even if you really want to hit it hard, you can't bear it. Kiba and Akamaru almost exploded when they saw this scene. What does this mean? What do you mean, don't beat it too badly? Akamaru has been training for how long? Can't even you, the summoning beast that Naruto just found, be better than it? And that Bulbasaur actually nodded. Akamaru couldn't help it, opened his mouth and showed his teeth, and his eyes became a little angry. Akamaru, go ahead and show others how powerful you are. Otherwise, they will think you are weak. Woof woof tilde. Akamaru nodded and jumped off his head. Gar night tilde. Bulbasaur looked at Akamaru, who jumped down and shook his head twice, as if to say that you should start first. Seeing this, Akamaru's eyes were full of anger, and he rushed over quickly with his teeth bared. As a dog, he couldn't stand such arrogance. Soon, Akamaru rushed to Bulbasaur and jumped up to pounce on him. However, before the attack fell, two vines grew out from Bulbasaur's back quickly, directly tying up Akamaru in midair. Then Bulbasaur took a step and rushed towards the tied Akamaru very quickly. Bang! The next second, Bulbasaur's head hit Akamaru hard, on Naruto's body. With a whoosh, Akamaru quickly broke free of the vine and flew backwards. That speed was much faster than when he rushed over. Yer, who was smiling at the corners of his mouth, couldn't help but twitch his eyelids, and his expression froze, and he was stunned. Gar tilde. After the attack, seeing Akamaru fall to the ground, Bulbasaur shook his head, called out, then looked at Yer with disdain and returned to Naruto's side. Not to mention, if it weren't for the appearance, this action would be quite like a great master. How is it possible? After reacting, Yer looked at the Bulbasaur next to Naruto, and then looked at Akamaru on the ground and shouted with some disbelief in his eyes. Akamaru has trained with him for several years, although the training was all about cooperation against the enemy. But fighting alone is not bad. At least it is the strength of an apprentice ninja, right? But now he was killed by a green turtle that looked so weak. No, the vine just now was. Wood style. The battle just ended too quickly, and it was over before we were ready. Now thinking back, his pupils widened, and he looked at Bulbasaur. He knew about wood style. Unlike Naruto, he didn't ignore everything in class. Although he didn't know how powerful it was, he knew it was very strong. How? Naruto, on the other hand, had a question mark on his face when he heard this. Wood style. What wood style? Is it stronger than Sasuke's fire style? And what is the summoning beast you mentioned before? What is a summoning beast? Why do you know all this, but I don't? He couldn't figure it out in his heart. We went to school together. Why do you want to be stronger? Is this dog involuntarily? Ah. Hearing Naruto's words, the surprise on his face disappeared, and his eyes became strange. You don't know. Naruto nodded. Yes, what are these? Are they very powerful? Did you teach them in school? You couldn't help but twitch his mouth, looking at Naruto. He didn't know what to say and taught them. Don't you know what you are like in school? At the same time, he was a little confused in his heart. How could Naruto, who is so ignorant, get a summoning beast that can use wood release? Curious, he asked directly, Naruto, where did you get this green? Bulbasaur. Hearing this, Naruto grinned and looked at Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is the partner given to me by brother Su Liang. How is it, hahaha? Isn't it very powerful? His eyes were full of envy, and he nodded repeatedly. Yes, very powerful then Naruto. Can you introduce Brother Su Liang to me? Do you want to meet Brother Su Liang? Yes, yes, yes. Sure. Hearing Naruto's affirmation, his heart was a little excited. The summoning beast that can use would release can be given to Naruto, so if he knows Brother Su Liang, shouldn't he also give himself one? Thinking of this, he suddenly became excited again and hurriedly pulled Naruto's hand. Let's go, Naruto. Let's go quickly. This action made the nervous Naruto a little dumbfounded. Now. Yes, you nodded. No, Naruto shook his head. Why? You were stunned for a moment. Naruto rolled his eyes. It's almost dark. I still have to go eat. You looked at the sky, then looked at the pedestrians who were gradually decreasing and nodded. Yes, then let's go tomorrow. Come on, Naruto. I'll treat you to dinner today. Really? I want to eat Ikaraku ramen. Okay, let's go. But why do I feel like something is missing? Is there? It seems not. Fuck Akamaru, ×2. Bulbasaur, looking at the smart man, GIF. Chapter 5. Bulbasaur level +1. Get points *10. At the same time in the elf house, Su Liang's room. Su Liang was thinking about how to get the plot characters to adopt the elves here, and suddenly the system's voice appeared in his mind. Naruto is okay. It's been less than an hour since I left, and Bulbasaur has actually upgraded. But system, isn't this a little too little? This can't be called stingy. It's simply stingy, only giving 10 points for leveling up. And this is a plot character. If it's not a plot character, then there is only 1 point. Host, the stronger the elf is, the more points you will get for leveling up. After understanding it, Su Liang also understood that in this world, ninjas and elves are in contrast. Internship ninja equals 1 × 10, genin equals 11 × 30, chunin equals 31 × 50, jonin equals 51 × 70, quasi-shadow equals 71 × 80, shadow level equals 81 × 90, super shadow equals 91 × 100. When the spirit's strength is an apprentice ninja, the plot character gets 10 points for each level up. When it comes to genin, the points that can be obtained for each level up are 100, and when it comes to chunin, it is 1000, and then it increases tenfold. After understanding, Su Liang didn't care about anything anymore, rubbing his hands. System, open the novice gift package. After all, the rewards he got before have not been used yet. Opening the novice gift package. Get 1 gold exclusive treasure chest. Get 10,000 points. Get a god-level mental talent. Hearing these voices, Su Liang's body trembled slightly. Mental talent. System, is it what I think? Yes, the mental talent obtained by the host is the mental power in the anime. Hearing the system's confirmation, Su Liang's face was full of surprise. You know, the mental power in the anime is very powerful, and instant movement is just a small matter. If used well, it is much more powerful than the chakra in this world. In this way, I can also protect myself. Although he obtained the system, he was still very worried about his safety before. But now that he has the god-level mental power talent, this situation will not happen. On the one hand, he can also obtain powerful combat power, and on the other hand, even if he can't win, his mental power can quickly let him escape. After all, teleportation is very difficult to solve in this world. System, just help me bind this talent. Okay, host. It will be a little painful when binding. Please be patient. After the system finished speaking, Su Liang wanted to ask something, but the next second, severe pain emerged. Ah! As soon as the pain appeared, Su Liang couldn't help but screamed. His face turned blue. I don't know what to say. Is this just a little pain? This is probably more painful than giving birth. The pain comes quickly and goes away quickly. System, can you explain it more clearly next time? After recovering for a while, Su Liang's eyes became a little resentful. As expected of a god-level talent, I have just awakened, and I can actually use my mental power to float. Floating in the air, Su Liang's expression was full of surprise. Those who have awakened their mental power in the anime have to practice for a long time before they can float. But he can do it just after awakening. And not only that, he even feels that his physical fitness has become many times stronger. Now even a tuning can't be my opponent. After floating for a while, Su Liang touched his chin and thought after landing. After that, he didn't test anything more and looked at the two treasure chests. System, what is the exclusive treasure chest? Su Liang didn't know about this exclusive treasure chest, and the system hadn't introduced it to him before. The exclusive treasure chest is a treasure chest dedicated to the host, and you can get the host's exclusive elves or special items. The exclusive treasure chest levels are divided into bronze, silver, gold, and diamond. You can get a bronze treasure chest for each elf entrusted to the plot character. 3 treasure chests of the same level can be combined and upgraded, such as 3 bronze treasure chests combined into a silver treasure chest. After listening to the system's explanation, Su Liang nodded, and his heart was also a little eager. Before, when I saw the 3 royal families, I couldn't help it. If I thought too much, I would just not entrust them and leave them to cultivate them well. But in the end, there was no way. For myself and the elves, the 3 royal families must be entrusted. Now that I have an exclusive treasure chest, I can open my own elves. I wish I could. Just open it now and create your own elf. However, Su Liang still held back and continued to ask the system, System, show me the mal. As Su Liang thought of it, the scene in front of him changed. The empty wooden house turned into a system mal. The mal has categories: food, props, medical treatment, and tree fruits. After taking a look, Su Liang opened the food categories and looked at them. Isn't this a bit expensive? Looking at the prices above, Su Liang's eyelids twitched. There are various energy cubes in the food category, and a bag of low-level energy cubes costs 50 points. Although 50 points are not much, a bag of energy cubes can only provide a elf for 1 week. And this is the lowest level. A bag of intermediate level is 100 points, advanced level is 500, and special level is 1000. Just entrusted a elf to Naruto and got 1000 points, and Bulbasaur level upgrade only got 10 points. It doesn't seem expensive, after all. After Bulbasaur's level is raised by 1, you can get a lot of points for each level. But there is one thing to note, that is, Su Liang can't prepare food for only 1 Pokémon, right? Later on, there will definitely be a lot of Pokémon in his store, so the cost of these energy blocks will be huge. How? There are actually energy block recipes. Just then, Su Liang suddenly found that there were recipes for ability blocks in the food category. Clicking on the recipe called low-level energy blocks with all attributes, Su Liang looked at the price. Fuck, it's so expensive. A recipe for the lowest level ability block actually costs 500,000 points. And you need tree berries and energy block manufacturing machines to exchange for admiration. If you don't have these things, then it's useless to exchange. Shaking his head, Su Liang looked at the remaining categories again. In the props category, there are some Poké balls and Pokémon illustrated books, as well as evolution stones. But the price of evolution stones is ridiculously expensive. Ordinary evolution stones cost millions of points, and super evolution stones cost tens of millions. Those rare Pokémons cost tens of millions. And the medical category includes some potions and equipment for treating Pokémons. The fruit is even simpler, just some fruit and some fruit trees. After looking around, Su Liang sighed. He originally thought that having more than 10,000 points was very good, but after seeing this item, he realized how poor he was. With 10,000 points, he couldn't even afford a good Poké ball. Shaking his head, Su Liang didn't think much about it. He closed the mail and looked at the lottery. The lottery was still acceptable. 1,000 points were drawn once, and Pokémons would appear every time, but the probability of Pokémons with high racial values appearing was not high. That's not right. Pokémons must appear every time. If those Pokémons are not very good and others don't like them, then won't I have to raise them in the end? Suddenly thinking of this, Su Liang became sick. He felt that this was a trap set by the system. Forget it, don't think about it for now. When there are more elves in the future, maybe I can make energy blocks by myself. System, give me 5 draws. Looking at his 11,010 points, Su Liang gritted his teeth and said, "There are too few elves at this time, only 2 in total. If Charmander and Squirtle don't think they are the guests who come to the door, or the guests don't like these 2 elves, then they can't be entrusted. So it's better to draw a few elves first." As Su Liang's voice fell, a Gashapon machine appeared in his mind. I saw that the points were reduced by 5,000, and the items in the Gashapon machine also rolled quickly. Then I saw 5 light balls rolling out of the Gashapon machine and turned into elf avatars. Get the elves Pikachu, Rattata, Caterpillar, Pidgeot, and Lucky Egg. As the system sounded, 5 new elves appeared in front of Su Liang. The elves that appeared at this time were also looking at Su Liang with curiosity. Su Liang nodded with satisfaction. "Hello, Pikachu, Rattata, Caterpillar, Pidgeot, and Lucky Egg, welcome here. My name is Su Liang." The elves on the ground also made sounds when they heard this, as if they were greeting Su Liang. Su Liang was still very satisfied with these summoned elves. According to what the system said before, this time the luck of the lottery is very good. Chapter 6. After chatting with several elves for a while, he sent them all to the back of the wooden house. Su Liang returned to his room again. "System, open the bronze treasure chest for me." As Su Liang's voice sounded, the bronze treasure chest slowly opened, and a bright light emerged. Get undetected elf eggs. Get magical fruit. Get the special item, Dragon's Tooth. Undetected elf eggs. There are magical creatures inside, but no one knows what they are. Magic fruit. Taking it can upgrade elves within level 60 by 1 level. Dragon's Tooth. Dragon elves wearing this item can increase the damage of dragon skills by 1/5. Looking at the items in front of him, Su Liang's eyes became surprised. System, can the elves hatched from this elf egg be cultivated by myself? Yes, host. The items opened from the exclusive treasure chest can be used at will by the host. Hearing this, Su Liang hugged the elf egg in front of him tightly. Although I don't know what kind of elves are in it, it doesn't matter at this moment. Regardless of whether the elves in it are good or not, this is Su Liang's first elf. Holding the elf egg, Su Liang continued to look at the remaining items. I was thinking before that these wearable items and level-up items are so expensive. I wonder if I can't afford them. I didn't expect that the exclusive treasure box can actually be opened. Looking at it, I was still very happy. System, open the gold treasure box as well. Then the gold treasure box emitted a burst of light again. Get the large incubator for elf eggs. Get the elf healer. Get Master Ball, *10. Get Dragonite, level 90. Get 10 acres of fruit trees and good farmland. Large incubator for elf eggs can speed up the hatching of elf eggs. Elf healer can heal elf injuries. Master Ball, an extremely rare elf ball. Dragonite a quasi-god Pokémon with a racial value of up to 600. Fruit tree farm, land that is more suitable for fruit trees to grow. Vake, Dragonite, level 90. Su Liang was completely stunned, looking at the items in front of him and taking a long time to react. The Dragonite that was opened had the strength of the cage level in this world, and it was the peak of the cage level. System, I love you so much. These 3 months of hard life have not been in vain. Su Liang was so excited that he almost cried. Although he had the system in these 3 months, he still lived in fear. I was afraid that he would be observed by the old coin of Konoha. When I called Naruto over before, I was very scared. After all, the elves were not simple. I was afraid that they would come to trouble him when they found out. But now, I finally don't have to worry anymore. With the level 90 Dragonite, there is no one in Konoha who can hurt him. This kind of joy is even stronger than the previous acquisition of the god-level spiritual power talent. After all, mental strength is a talent, and it takes time to become stronger. However, Dragonite has the peak strength of shadow level right out of the box. After a while of excitement, Su Liang picked up the Poké ball in front of him. The Dragonite that came out came with a Poké ball, and it was the Master Ball he just drew. Su Liang had just seen this Poké ball in the system Mal. One cost 10 million points, which was ridiculously expensive. Picking up the Poké ball with Dragonite, Su Liang pressed the button in the middle. Suddenly, a red light shot out from the Poké ball, and then a figure appeared in front of Su Liang. He was nearly 3 meters tall, fat, with 2 tentacles and a small horn on his head, and a pair of small wings on his back, which looked very cute. Ows! When Su Liang was looking at Dragonite, Dragonite also saw him, quickly approached, and hugged Su Liang. Okay, put me down. Su Liang was too busy to react, and was held in Dragonite's arms. He breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. You know, Dragonite's strength is at the peak of the shadow level. He was really afraid that Dragonite would kill him here. But fortunately, Dragonite knew his limits and didn't use much strength to hold Su Liang. Hang on. Dragonite nodded after hearing Su Liang's words and slowly put him on the ground. Su Liang touched Dragonite's belly, but he couldn't touch its head because it was too high. Dragonite. Gender, male. Category, Dragon Pokémon. Attribute, Dragon Flying. Features, mental power, not easily affected by negative effects. Hidden features, multiple scales. When in perfect condition, the damage received is reduced by %50. Level 90, Shadow Level. Skills, Wing Attack, Dragon Dance, Reverse Scale, Destructive Ray, Storm. Looking at this panel, Su Liang just wanted to say that it was powerful. This Dragonite is obviously the leader of the tribe. Its body is much larger than the ordinary Dragonites, and it has a lot of skills, 29 in total. It can be said that it has learned everything it can learn. The more I look at it, the more satisfied I am. Dragonite, you will be my partner in the future. I will give you a gift. As he said, Su Liang took out the dragon's tooth from the bronze treasure chest and handed it to Dragonite. I have to say that this is luck. Not long after the dragon's tooth was opened, a powerful Dragonite was opened. Dragonite, looking at the dragon fang handed over by Su Liang, his eyes suddenly lit up, and then he hesitated. Ow, Tilda. Take it, you are my partner. Who else can I give it to if I don't give it to you? Su Liang understood what Dragonite meant, lifted its fat hand, stuffed the dragon fang into it, and patted its hand. Dragonite looked at the dragon fang in his hand, then looked at Su Liang's sincere eyes, nodded heavily. Ow. Seeing this scene, Su Liang couldn't help but smile. Then he said something to Dragonite and looked at the remaining items. There is nothing much to say about the incubator and the healer. Even if you just hear the name, you know what it is. However, when Su Liang saw the incubator, he was in a good mood. He didn't forget that he had drawn a Pokémon egg before. With this thing, it can be hatched quickly. Pokémon eggs can be hatched even without an incubator, but the speed is much slower. Skipping these two machines, the remaining ones are the Master Balls. Looking at these 10 Master Balls, Su Liang felt a little sorry. The Master Ball is indeed a very good treasure in the Pokémon world. But it is useless in this world. There are no wild Pokémon in this world. Even if the Master Ball can capture Pokémon 100%, it is useless. Hey, 10 million points for one. It would be great if I could get 100 million points directly. Shaking his head regretfully, his eyes continued to look at the 10 acres of fertile land. I don't know what to say. This system is really awesome. It can even get the land. Ows. Dragonite looked at Su Liang's expression and shouted with some confusion. Su Liang shook his head. I'm fine, by the way. I'll exchange some energy cubes for you first. He exchanged a bag of special energy cubes and a bag of low-level energy cubes from the mall. The low-level ones are for Charmander, Squirtle, and the Pokémon that was just drawn, and the special level ones are definitely for Dragonite. I still have to earn points quickly, otherwise I really can't afford it. Su Liang, who had consumed 1050 points, couldn't help muttering to himself. Then he took Dragonite out of the room and walked to the back of the wooden house. He called 7 Pokémon, opened the energy cubes, and started feeding them. It is worth mentioning that when the 7 little guys saw Dragonite, they were almost scared to death. Pokémon can sense each other, and Dragonite is like seeing a god in their eyes. No, Bulbasaur doesn't seem to have food. Will it be hungry? Looking at the Pokémons eating energy cubes with smiles on their faces, Su Liang suddenly thought of this. Then he shook his head. Forget it. Bulbasaur is a grass-type Pokémon. It won't be a problem if it doesn't eat for a meal. After that, he didn't think much about it and continued to look at the Pokémons. Watching these elves eat is much more exciting than watching those eating broadcasts. It feels so cute. Soon, after watching several elves finish eating, Su Liang told them to go play by themselves. Su Liang himself returned to the room, sat cross-legged on the floor, and began to meditate. After all, you have to work hard to cultivate the spiritual power talent. Chapter 7. The next day, Naruto got up from the bed, and his face turned bitter as he looked at the sun hanging high outside. It's over, I overslept. I was too excited to see Bulbasaur last night, and I slept late. He quickly got up from the bed, washed up, and looked at Bulbasaur, who was still sleeping. Naruto called out loudly, Bulbasaur, get up, you still have to do the mission today. Teacher Kakashi will punish you if you are late. Thinking of the punishment, Naruto couldn't help but squeeze his buttocks. A sense of fear spread from his heart. Ga tilde. Bulbasaur ignored Naruto's voice, turned over, and continued to sleep. Naruto was so excited that he couldn't sleep last night, and he couldn't sleep either. Now he was sleepy. How could he get up? When Naruto saw this, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he didn't care so much, picked up Bulbasaur on the bed and rushed out. Gani Gani tilde. Bulbasaur woke up instantly and looked at Naruto and shouted angrily. But Naruto didn't care at this time and ran quickly towards the gathering place. On the other side of Konoha village. On the training ground. Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke were waiting for Naruto, who was already late. Where the hell is Naruto, the idiot, doing? Why hasn't he come yet? Sakura clenched her fists and said with an irritated look. Kakashi and Sasuke stood very calmly, one reading a book and the other with a cold face. Ah. Just then, a voice came from a distance, and the three people in the training ground looked over when they heard the voice. Naruto was holding something in his hands, gritting his teeth and rushing over here quickly. Haha. When Naruto arrived at the training ground, he looked at the others embarrassedly and said breathlessly, "I'm sorry I'm late." Bang! Stupid Naruto, why are you so late? Sakura walked over and punched Naruto on the head, saying viciously, "Hey hey." Naruto touched his head. "I slept late last night." Gah! Bulbasaur was a little stunned when he saw Naruto's reaction. What's going on? Why is he still laughing after being beaten? How? Hearing Bulbasaur's voice, Sakura was also stunned for a moment and looked towards Naruto's arms. After seeing Bulbasaur, he couldn't help but take a step back. Naruto, what is this? Why is it so ugly? Gah! Bulbasaur's eyes were full of anger, and he actually said that he was ugly. How could he tolerate this? He was so handsome, and you actually said that. He immediately struggled. Bulbasaur, don't be angry, don't be angry. Sakura didn't mean it. Naruto was shocked and didn't know what to say. This one is really good. Yesterday, Kiba was like this, and now Sakura is like this. Sakura also saw that Bulbasaur was wrong, and immediately retreated quickly and hid behind Kakashi. At this time, Kakashi looked a little confused. Naruto, what's in your arms? Ah, you mean Bulbasaur? This is my partner. Partner. Kakashi became more confused. Next to him, Sasuke, who had been uninterested in everything before, also looked at Naruto at this time. Naruto nodded. Yes, Bulbasaur is my partner. Don't look at it. It doesn't look good, but Bulbasaur is very powerful. Gah! Hearing Naruto's words, the vines behind Bulbasaur rose up and hit Naruto with a snap, of course, not with much power. His eyes became angry again. He was angry when he was called ugly just now, but now he is saying bad things about him. Seeing the vine of Bulbasaur, the faces of the three people on the opposite side changed. Word would release. Sakura looked at Kakashi uncertainly. Sasuke was the same, looking at Bulbasaur with a serious look. Kakashi ignored Sakura's question and frowned at Naruto. Naruto, where did you get this Bulbasaur? Naruto didn't think much about it and touched the place where the vine of Bulbasaur hit him. This is given to me by brother Su Liang. Kakashi glanced at Bulbasaur and said to the others, "You can practice on your own today." After that, he disappeared here with a whoosh. Watching Kakashi leave, Naruto was stunned for a moment. Didn't we agree on a mission? He didn't know what to say. He ran here in a hurry, but now he didn't do the mission. Okay, Naruto, shall we train on our own? Sakura glanced at Sasuke, who had already left for training, said something to Naruto, and then turned around and followed. Seeing this, Naruto could only nod, and then looked at Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, let's train too. He didn't forget that Su Liang said yesterday that as long as Bulbasaur was trained well, his strength would be even stronger than that of the Hokage. Gar tilde. Bulbasaur nodded. Then Naruto didn't say anything more and took Bulbasaur in the direction where the two left. Just when Naruto started training, Kakashi came to the door of the Hokage's office. Bang, bang, bang. Come in. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was smoking a cigarette, saw Kakashi coming in with a kind smile on his face. Kakashi, you are here. You are here for Naruto's summoning beast that can use wood release. Hokage, you know. Kakashi's eyes became surprised, but then he thought it was normal. After all, Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. If anything happens, the Hokage must know it first. Sarutobi Hiruzen extinguished the cigarette in his hand and nodded. I already know. Then Hokage, it's okay, I'll leave first. Kakashi saw this and didn't say anything more. He turned around and prepared to leave. Wait a minute, Kakashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly called Kakashi. If possible, please go and find out about Su Liang's situation and see what he thinks of our Konoha, but don't be deliberate. Kakashi was silent for a while, nodded, then turned around, opened the door and left. SHH tilde. Who? Took out a lighter, lit the cigarette in his hand, took a puff, and Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the desk in front of him. Headache. As Sarutobi Hiruzen looked over, there was a piece of information about Su Liang on the desk. It contained all of Su Liang's experiences, from childhood to adulthood. This was also the reason for the headache. It was so clean, so nice. The Su Liang recorded on, it was not the same person as the Su Liang he had thought of. Chapter 8. Bulbasaur, let's do it again. In the training ground, next to a tree stump, Naruto looked excited and was looking at Bulbasaur in front of him. Bulbasaur moved quickly and slammed into the wooden stump in front of him. With a bang, the wooden stump began to tremble. Seeing this, Naruto ran over with a smile. Great, Bulbasaur, your attack has become more powerful. Gar tilde. Hearing this, Bulbasaur showed a proud expression, as if saying that you just know it. Of course, Naruto, who is a big-headed person, certainly can't see it. He picked up Bulbasaur and continued to get excited. But unlike Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura, who were training next to him, were so shocked that they could hardly speak. From the beginning of training to now, it has only been a few hours, and it hasn't even reached noon yet. But Bulbasaur has become much stronger. At the beginning, Bulbasaur's impact couldn't even move the wooden stump. But now the wooden stake is shaking. They know exactly how much progress has been made. Naruto. Naruto, is your summoning beast really given to you by someone else? Sakura couldn't help asking after being surprised for a while. She wasn't very curious before. Although wood release was indeed amazing, she didn't know how powerful it was, so she didn't have much interest. But now, looking at the speed of Bulbasaur's improvement, she couldn't help it. The speed of improvement was too fast. I'm afraid that these ninjas may not have such progress after training for a week. How? Naruto put away his excitement and looked back. You mean Bulbasaur? This is what Brother Su Liang gave me. He also said that Bulbasaur will be more powerful than Naruto in the future. Sasuke next to him trembled when he heard this, but he didn't say anything. As for Sakura, her face became a little speechless. Naruto, you are not fooled, are you? How can there be a summoned beast stronger than the Hokage? She knew it was a lie without even thinking about it. No, Brother Su Liang will not lie to me. Bulbasaur will definitely be very powerful in the future. Gar tilde. Bulbasaur also nodded, with a firm look in his eyes. Stupid Naruto, this Bulbasaur has no chakra. How can it be stronger than the Hokage? Sakura looked at Naruto speechlessly, as if she was looking at a fool. He was not serious in class, and now he doesn't even know these basic knowledge. How? Naruto was stunned for a moment. No chakra. Then he grabbed Bulbasaur and seemed to look left and right. Sakura covered her face, not knowing what to say. It's been so long, didn't you realize this? Sasuke couldn't keep his cool, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. Idiot. After saying that, he didn't watch anymore and turned around to continue his practice. Arrogant Sasuke, what did you say? I want to challenge you. Naruto was immediately furious and looked at Sasuke fiercely. Boring. He spat out 2 words in a cold voice, and Sasuke ignored it. Ugh. Naruto was so angry that he roared directly. Sakura didn't know what to say next to her. For this situation, She could only say that she was used to it. Yo, 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 it seems that you didn't practice well. Just then, Kakashi appeared next to several people at some point. Teacher Kakashi, you are here. Sakura saw Kakashi, her eyes became pleasantly surprised, and then shook her head. Teacher Kakashi, we are practicing very seriously. Yes, Teacher Kakashi. Naruto also nodded and replied. Kakashi nodded, then looked at Bulbasaur. Naruto, can you let me see Bulbasaur's strength? He was much more curious about this little thing in front of him than these little ghosts. After all, it was wood release, the signature blood of the first Hokage, and now it appeared on a summoned beast. How could he not be curious? And the Hokage mission was to understand Su Liang, so he must first understand the situation of this summoned beast. Teacher Kakashi, you want to fight? Bulbasaur. Naruto's pupils were dilated, and his eyes became weird. Sasuke and Sakura next to him were the same, looking at Kakashi and feeling something was wrong. This Bulbasaur looked like it had just started practicing. But Kakashi, an elite Jonin, why do we have to fight it? Isn't this just like bullying a 6-year-old child? Ahem. Kakashi looked at the looks of the others and felt a little embarrassed. I just want to see its specific strength, not to fight. Naruto nodded when he heard this. Okay, Bulbasaur, please. Ga Night, Tilda. Bulbasaur nodded and looked at Kakashi. Looking at Bulbasaur, who didn't know Kakashi was powerful at all, Naruto became a little worried. I just hope that Bulbasaur's butt won't get hurt. Bulbasaur answered and walked out from beside Naruto and came to the opposite side of Kakashi. Seeing this scene, Kakashi nodded with satisfaction. Then let's start. Ga Night, Tilda. Bulbasaur yelled and rushed out quickly. Physical skills. Good speed. Looking at the fast approaching Bulbasaur, Kakashi nodded again and then dodged the attack. Ga 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 tilde. The attack missed, and the vines behind Bulbasaur grew rapidly and then whipped towards Kakashi. Kakashi's eyes became a little solemn, and he took out a kunai from his waist bag and cut the attacking vines. Swish! With the waving of the kunai, the vines of Bulbasaur were cut off one by one and fell to the ground. Kakashi's eyes also became a little confused. The strength of this vine is not like wood release. It obviously does not have that kind of strong vitality, and why is there no chakra fluctuation? Ga ga. Just when Kakashi was thinking about this, Bulbasaur shouted. And Kakashi, who heard this voice, suddenly felt that his emotions seemed to be out of control for a while. However, this effect is very small, so small that it is almost useless. But even so, Kakashi's eyes became a little surprised. Is this an illusion? But why is there no chakra? He couldn't figure out why this was happening, why these ninjutsu didn't need chakra to be activated. Whoosh! Just then, a seed appeared in front of Kakashi. Something's wrong. Looking at the approaching seed, Kakashi suddenly felt the danger and dodged the attack. As Kakashi dodged, the seed fell to the ground and merged into the ground. What is this? Kakashi's eyes became a little horrified. The seed merged into the ground, and the grass on the ground withered quickly, turning into a stream of energy and flying towards Bulbasaur. And this energy returned to Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur became more energetic. Ga tilde. Bulbasaur didn't know what Kakashi was thinking at this time. After feeling that his physical strength had increased a little, the vines on his back grew again and launched another collision. Bang! This time, Kakashi did not dodge anything and stretched out a hand to resist the impact of Bulbasaur. His body did not even move a bit. Okay, it's done. Ga tilde. Bulbasaur did not attack again after hearing this, and the expression on his face became a little disappointed. Bulbasaur, are you okay? Naruto approached and looked at Bulbasaur's expression and asked with worry in his eyes. Bulbasaur shook his head, Gar tilde. But the disappointment in his eyes did not disappear. Kakashi nodded when he saw this and looked at Naruto with envy. Although this Bulbasaur does not look very big, it is not too powerful now, and it has no chakra. But these are not important. Bulbasaur's ninjutsu is very powerful and does not require chakra at all, especially the seed. Even now, I still don't believe it in my heart. So chakra is not a problem, and maybe I can practice chakra in the future. Although it is still weak now, it is because Bulbasaur is still young. Judging from its current strength, if it grows up, its strength will definitely not be weaker than the summoning beasts of the 3 holy places. How can I not envy it? Gurgle. Just then, a sound came from Bulbasaur's stomach. Bulbasaur showed an embarrassed expression on his face. The eyes of several people around him turned to Naruto with a bit of weirdness. Sakura stood up and said speechlessly, Naruto, you didn't give Bulbasaur food, did you? Ha ha. Naruto touched his head awkwardly and nodded. Sakura covered her face and rolled her eyes. He glanced at her, then picked up his lunch box from the side and came to Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, this is for you to eat. Gar tilde. Bulbasaur smelled it and shook his head. Aye. Sakura didn't know what to say and was stunned. Is the lunch box she made so bad? Just smelled it and you refused it. She was not confident in her heart. Sakura, Bulbasaur doesn't eat these. When we ate Ikaraku ramen last night, Bulbasaur didn't eat it either. Thinking of this, her brows wrinkled slightly. Ikaraku ramen is so delicious, but Bulbasaur doesn't eat it. This must be a serious picky eater. What does Bulbasaur want to eat? Sakura didn't feel lost and asked Naruto. Naruto shook his head. I don't know either. I don't understand what Bulbasaur said. Then didn't Brother Su Liang, who you mentioned, tell you what Bulbasaur eats? Sakura asked curiously, with a serious look in her eyes. Ah. Naruto was stunned for a moment. I didn't ask. Puff tilde. Seeing Naruto like this, the 3 of them almost fell to the ground. Stupid Naruto, don't you go ask Brother Su Liang. Naruto reacted, nodded, and picked up the Bulbasaur on the ground. Yes, I can ask Brother Su Liang what Bulbasaur eats. Then Teacher Kakashi, I'll go first. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave here. But before Naruto left, Kakashi said, Naruto, wait a minute, I'll go with you. I'm also curious about this kind of summoning beast. Aye. Teacher Kakashi, are you going too? Naruto looked puzzled for a moment, but nodded without thinking too much. Okay then. Then he led the way in front. Kakashi also followed. With such a good opportunity, how could he not go? Sasuke, what about us? Looking at the actions of Naruto and Kakashi, Sakura turned her head and looked at Sasuke. Sasuke did not answer Sakura, but followed him. He was also very curious about Bulbasaur. After watching the battle just now, he wanted it very much. At this moment, if he wanted to see the real owner of Bulbasaur, he would definitely go and see it. If he also had such a summoning beast, it would be much easier to deal with that man. Seeing Sasuke also followed, Sakura was stunned for a moment, and then followed. Chapter 9. Elf House. At this time, Su Liang was preparing lunch for several elves. Su Liang walked to the back of the wooden house with empty hands, and energy blocks followed him. That's right, they followed him out of thin air. And it was not just one energy block, but more than a dozen. This is the success of Su Liang's training this morning. After meditating all night last night, Su Liang's mental power has also been greatly improved. According to this situation, as long as he practices for another week, his strength can fight with the upper ninja. However, his mental power is strong, but he has no means of attack. So in the morning, Su Liang trained this kind of object control. As a modern young man, after reading so many novels, animations, and TV dramas, the first thing he thought of when considering attacking was flying swords. Think about how cool and powerful it is to control flying swords to fight. Now that he has this ability, he must develop it. And this is not difficult for him, with mental power. So it became like this now. Even when delivering food to the elves, they were practicing at the same time. Soon, Su Liang came to the open space behind the wooden house. Ow tilde. Just when Su Liang just appeared, Dragonite flew over quickly. However, after seeing the ability block next to Su Liang, Dragonite's eyes became a little curious. Su Liang also saw Dragonite's expression. Dragonite, don't underestimate me. I have a strong mental power. Ow tilde. Dragonite also showed a surprised expression on his face when he heard this. Su Liang shook his head and didn't say anything more about it. Dragonite, go call everyone over first and prepare for dinner. Dragonite nodded and left here quickly with a swish. Soon, under Dragonite's call, several elves also came over one after another. They greeted Su Liang, cutely one by one. Okay, let's eat first. Touching the squirtle that ran into his arms, Su Liang placed the energy cube in front of all the elves. The elves didn't make any more noise, and they all started eating with big mouthfuls. Even Squirtle, who had always been sticking to Su Liang, did the same, sitting on the ground and eating. Ugh. Just then, Dragonite, who was eating the energy cube, suddenly raised his head and looked in the direction of the wooden house. Dragonite, what's wrong? Su Liang was a little confused. Ah, tilde. Dragonite pointed in the direction of the wooden house. Someone is coming. Understanding what Dragonite meant, Su Liang stood up and turned to walk towards the wooden house. Dragonite saw this and quickly solved the energy cube and stood up and followed. The other elves also looked at it, but did not do anything else and continued to eat their own ability cubes. Brother Su Liang, I'm here. Just after entering the wooden house from the back door, Su Liang heard the familiar voice coming over. Not long after, he saw the members of Kakashi's team coming in. Entering the wooden house, everyone looked at the environment inside. Even Naruto was the same, and even a little confused in his heart. I remember that there was nothing here yesterday, but why are there two such large machines now? Gar tilde. But when Kakashi and the others looked left and right, Bulbasaur saw Su Liang. He broke free from Naruto's hand and jumped towards Su Liang. As Bulbasaur moved, everyone's eyes were also on Su Liang's body. Each of them looked a little surprised and a little curious. Seeing Bulbasaur's actions, several people could also guess that this was the Naruto brother mentioned by Naruto. Kakashi's eyes became a little confused, and he thought to himself, is this the Su Liang that Naruto mentioned? It doesn't look special, and I can't sense any chakra fluctuations. But at this moment, Kakashi suddenly felt a dangerous message coming over. Looking in that direction, he saw a fat creature looking at him. Seeing this, Kakashi's eyes became terrified. This creature gave him the feeling of being powerful, dangerous, and invincible. To give him this feeling, it must be at least cage-level strength, and it's not the kind that has just broken through to cage level. Thinking of this, Kakashi was shocked. How is it possible? Could it be that what Naruto said before is true? Can these strange, summoned beasts really grow to cage level? Su Liang didn't know what Kakashi was thinking. After Bulbasaur pounced on him, he quickly caught it and touched its head. Hello, Bulbasaur. Ga ni tilde. Bulbasaur nodded, and the expression on his face seemed to be greeting Su Liang. Brother Su Liang, why is Bulbasaur so nice to you, but not to me? Naruto looked at the interaction between Bulbasaur and Su Liang, and his eyes became puzzled. Bulbasaur is his partner, and he has never treated himself like this. Ah. Su Liang was stunned for a moment, looked at Naruto and smiled. Naruto, don't be anxious. You and Bulbasaur have only known each other for a day, and after knowing each other for a long time, the relationship between you will definitely be better than mine. Naruto nodded, and then did not say anything about it. By the way, Brother Su Liang, I came to you to ask what Bulbasaur eats. It doesn't eat anything I give it. Su Liang nodded and looked at the Dragonite next to him. Dragonite, please go to my room and bring the ability cubes that Charmander and others eat. Dragonite nodded and walked to the side. As Dragonite left, Su Liang looked at Kakashi and the others. Naruto, who are these people? Why don't you introduce them? Aye. Yes, Brother Su Liang, this is Kakashi, a very powerful Jonin. This is Sakura, and this arrogant guy is Sasuke. Listening to Naruto's words, Su Liang nodded with a smile. Hello. After saying that, he looked at Kakashi. The famous copy ninja, I have heard of you for a long time, and today I finally met you. Aye. Hello. Su Liang's voice interrupted Kakashi's thoughts, and he also said hello. Su Liang then said, Everyone, since you are here, do you want to take a partner back? Such a good opportunity, he didn't want to give up, rubbed his hands, blinked and said, Ahem. Kakashi was puzzled. Boss, is it Bulbasaur? Sakura and Sasuke also looked at Su Liang. Su Liang shook his head. No, I don't have Bulbasaur here anymore, but it is similar to Bulbasaur, whether it is talent or potential, it is the same. Tilda. The Bulbasaur in his arms was a little unhappy when he heard Su Liang's words, and he retorted. Su Liang was also speechless when he heard this voice. Okay, you are the best. Then he continued to look at Kakashi and others and said, How about it? You can take a look first. Kakashi was silent for a while, nodded. Then I'll trouble you, boss. Su Liang shook his head. No trouble. Ow tilde. Just then, Dragonite came out of the room with an energy cube. After handing the energy cube to Su Liang, he stood by and acted as a security guard. Chapter 10. Taking the ability cube handed over by Dragonite, Su Liang said thank you, then took out an energy cube and placed it in front of Bulbasaur, who was already drooling. Okay, eat first. Tilde. Bulbasaur grabbed it and ate it in big mouthfuls. Naruto on the opposite side saw this and asked curiously, Brother Su Liang, what is this? And is Bulbasaur too picky about food? It doesn't even eat ramen. Hearing this, Su Liang couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Naruto, Bulbasaur doesn't eat those things. They only eat this kind of ability cube. Aye. What is the energy cube? Energy cubes are made of special tree fruits, and the speed of elves' cultivation will increase after eating them. Naruto nodded belatedly and then continued to ask, Why can eating it speed up cultivation? Can I speed up cultivation by eating it? Su Liang's eyelids couldn't help shaking. Are you asking 100,000 whys? Why are you asking so many questions about just an energy cube? Ahem. Kakashi was speechless when he heard Naruto's question. He coughed and looked at Su Liang with a serious look. Boss, you just said it was a spirit. Aren't these creatures summoned beasts? Su Liang smiled and nodded. Yes, they are not summoned beasts, but another kind of creature. Another kind of creature. Kakashi was full of doubts. Yes, Su Liang nodded. The spirits are another kind of creature, different from the summoned beasts you think of. They are born with control over attributes, have powerful strength, various skills, and huge potential. Hearing this, several people fell silent, their faces full of disbelief. This paragraph completely crushed their worldview. But they couldn't help but believe it. After all, what Su Liang said was true, and they had seen the Battle of Bulbasaur. There is no chakra, no seal, but it can use powerful attacks. Su Liang looked at the silent expressions of the few people, shook his head and said, "Okay, I'll take you to see the other elves first." After saying that, he walked towards the back door first. Kakashi and the others also reacted when they saw this, and followed them one by one. Soon they came to the open space behind the wooden house, and at this time, several elves were still happily eating energy cubes. After sensing Su Liang's arrival, they looked up one by one. However, after seeing Kakashi and the others behind, they became curious and hid in fear. "Mr. Su Liang are these? The elves you mentioned?" Coming to the backyard, looking at the 7 different elves, Kakashi asked Su Liang. The people next to him also looked at Su Liang. Su Liang nodded. "Yes, these are all elves." "Then, can they all become very strong?" Kakashi asked again. Su Liang nodded again. "Yes, elves can become very powerful, but it depends on how to train them." Hearing this, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. Su Liang said this, which means that not all elves can be like the Dragonite next to him. It was not so difficult to accept in his heart. At this time, Sasuke looked at Su Liang. "Can these elves become very powerful?" "Yes, as long as you train them well. These elves can become stronger than your Hokage." Hearing Su Liang's words, Sasuke hadn't answered yet, and Sakura stood up next to him. "How is it possible? Although these elves are good, they can't be stronger than the Hokage." For this, Sakura didn't believe it at all. How could there be someone stronger than the Hokage? "I learned it in school. The Hokage is the strongest in the world." Su Liang smiled and didn't even bother to answer. It was obvious that he had been brainwashed. At the same time, he felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen was too shameless. The most powerful person. There are too many hands stronger than yours to count. What's wrong? Am I wrong? Sakura noticed Su Liang's expression and frowned slightly. Su Liang smiled again. "You can ask your teacher, Kakashi. I believe that the copy ninja Kakashi has good eyesight and can see these." When the people around heard this, they immediately looked at Kakashi. Kakashi also felt a little bitter and then nodded. "He is right, but I don't think he is necessarily stronger than our Hokage." Sasuke heard this and looked at the few elite. The eyes of the spirits became enthusiastic. Although Kakashi's words just now were somewhat denying, they also showed that the elves could be very strong. Su Liang shook his head at this time. "Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Everyone, I wonder if you are interested in taking an elf away." Hearing this again, Kakashi's eyes became a little alert. "Mr. Su Liang, what is your purpose?" According to Su Liang, these elves are rare good things. But Su Liang's expression now, he wished that they could take one away. If there is nothing in the middle, Kakashi would not believe it. "Don't worry, I have no ill will towards you, Konoha, and I have no ill will towards you. I have my own reasons, and have to send these elves away." Kakashi did not speak, and continued to look at Su Liang. After seeing Su Liang's bitter expression, he thought to himself, "Are we really just sending these creatures called elves away?" But at this moment, Sasuke stood up. "Boss, how much do you want these elves?" Su Liang shook his head. "My elves don't cost money. As long as these elves agree to leave with you, you can take them away." Sasuke nodded, and then walked towards the group of elves watching them in front. Sasuke. Sakura next to him saw this and became a little worried, and then followed him. The elves who were curiously looking at the few people became alert after seeing Sasuke approaching, and some even prepared to attack. "Okay, don't worry. He is here to find a partner." If you want to become stronger, you can consider it. Su Liang looked at the alert elves and walked over with a smile on his face. When the elves heard Su Liang's words, they relaxed one by one and looked at Sasuke, who was approaching seriously. As they watched, the elves also made their own choices. Only Charmander and Popo approached, while the others stayed where they were without moving. Seeing this, Su Liang looked at Sasuke. It seems that they have already made their choice. What about you? If you are not satisfied, you don't have to choose. Of course, I want to remind you that if you take the Pokémon away and don't treat it well, we will not let you go. Ah, Tilda. The Dragonite next to him also nodded and stared at Sasuke. As Dragonite stared, Sasuke felt a huge pressure coming, and his body trembled inexplicably. His eyes became a little fearful, and then he looked at Su Liang and nodded. Chapter 11. Su Liang saw the fear on Sasuke's face and nodded with satisfaction. Sasuke in the anime is not a good guy. Remember when he was fighting Deidara, he summoned the 10,000 snakes to resist the damage in order to survive. Although the 10,000 snakes are not good things, this shows Sasuke's cruelty. If he is the same with these elves, Su Liang will not let him go. After Su Liang nodded, Dragonite also put away his momentum. Who? Relieved, Sasuke looked at Charmander and Popo in front of him, and then turned to look at Su Liang. Boss, which of these two elves is stronger? There is no absolute strength between elves. It all depends on how to train them. Then, boss, can I see their strength? Ow tilde. Po tilde. Before Su Liang answered Sasuke's words, Charmander and Popo nodded. Then the two little guys started to attack the tree next to them. Charmander moved quickly, stretched out its claws towards the tree trunk, and grabbed it. Popo flew into the air and crashed into the tree trunk at high speed. Seeing the attacks of the two elves, Sasuke frowned tightly. He could see that the two elves were basically the same at this time. Whether it was attack or other aspects, there was basically no difference. He didn't know how to choose. After thinking for a while, Sasuke's eyes became firm, and he turned his head to look at Su Liang. Boss, this elf can use the power of fire attribute, right? Seeing Sasuke pointing at Charmander, Su Liang nodded. Yes, it has fire attribute. Then, boss, I will choose it. Ow tilde. When Charmander heard this, the expression on his face became joyful, and he stepped forward and rushed towards Sasuke quickly. Popo was a little disappointed, and his mood became low. Su Liang also noticed this scene. He picked up Bobo and touched its feathers. He looked at Sasuke, who was holding Charmander, and said, just make your choice, but I still want to remind you again that elves are partners, not tools. Sasuke's eyes showed a hint of surprise. He was silent for a while and nodded. Egg tilde, egg tilde. Just then, Zyro Fuden came to Sakura at some point, blinked his eyes, and shouted with eggs in his mouth. Wow! This movement also attracted everyone's attention. Looking at the little Fuden in front of her, Sakura's eyes turned into the shape of a heart, and she couldn't help shouting, Good, so cute, boss. Is this also an elf? Su Liang nodded, approached and touched Zyro Fuden's head. Yes, it's called Zyro Fuden, and it seems to like you very much. Egg tilde. Zyro Fuden nodded, stretched out his short hands, and made a gesture of asking for a hug to Sakura. Looking at the appearance of the little lucky egg, Zyroing felt that she was almost melted by cuteness, and immediately picked up the little cutie on the ground. Little lucky egg, is it? Hello. Egg tilde. Little lucky egg nodded with a smile and greeted Zyroing. Seeing this scene, Su Liang couldn't help but smile, and then said to Zyroing, It seems that Zyrofuden wants to be your partner. Really? Zyroing said in surprise. Egg tilde, Zyrofuden also nodded. Okay, I've decided. Then you will be my partner from now on. Please give me more advice, Zyrofuden. Looking at the nodding little lucky egg, Zyroing had not decided to adopt an elf before, but now she decided immediately. How could such a cute creature still decide? Su Liang also nodded and laughed in his heart. This time he entrusted two at once. How could he not be excited? Then he looked at Kakashi, who was at the end, and said, "Mr. Kakashi, what do you think? Do you want to train one?" "Yes, Mr. Kakashi, do you want to find one too?" Kakashi hadn't answered yet, and Naruto, who was holding Bulbasaur and watching, spoke up. Then Sakura came over and looked at Kakashi. "Yes, yes, Mr. Kakashi, you should adopt one too." Kakashi looked at the two people's shining eyes and then nodded. "Okay, then I'll trouble Mr. Su Liang." Su Liang suppressed the joy in his heart, nodded, and talked to several elves again. But this time, no more elves came out, but only one Pikachu came out. "Mr. Kakashi, it seems that you are very predestined. This elf is called Pikachu, and it is an electric elf." Kakashi's eyes became interested when he heard this, and he looked at Pikachu. Pika, Pika tilde. Pikachu also saw Kakashi's eyes, and suddenly felt as if he was underestimated, and a shock of electricity just emanated from his face. Seeing this, Kakashi's eyes became surprised. The electric shock just now can almost be regarded as a sea-level ninjutsu, but I didn't expect that this little guy would release it so easily. This is without training. After being surprised for a while, Kakashi picked up Pikachu and looked at Su Liang. "Thank you." Su Liang shook his head. "No, this is your and the elves' choice. By the way, boss, you said before that elves only eat energy cubes, so what should we do if we don't have energy cubes?" At this time, Sakura asked Su Liang curiously. "Don't worry about the energy cubes, I will sell them." Sakura nodded and then continued to ask, "Boss, what's the price of the energy cube?" Hearing this, Su Liang took out a piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to several people. Looking at Su Liang's actions, Kakashi's mouth twitched. Why does it look like this has been planned long ago? After taking the note and looking at the content on it, several people's eyes became strange. "Brother Su Liang, this low-level energy cube costs 1,000 taels per bag." Looking at the price above, Naruto couldn't help it. A bowl of Ikaraku ramen is only 50 taels, but this bag of energy cubes costs the price of 20 bowls of Ikaraku ramen. The people next to him also looked at Su Liang. Su Liang smiled. "It's not expensive. A bag of energy cubes can provide Pokémon with food for a week." But in my heart, I was thinking, the elves don't want your money. Do you really think you don't want to make money? And the price is really not expensive. Even an ordinary person can afford it if he grits his teeth, not to mention the ninjas with higher incomes. Naruto and the others nodded after hearing what Su Liang said. Then Kakashi asked curiously, "Mr. Su Liang, is there any difference between the levels of these energy cubes?" There are not only low-level energy cubes, but also intermediate, high-level, and special-level ones. And the direct price is several times higher. Chapter 12. Looking at the puzzled people, Su Liang explained. The higher the level of the energy cube, the more helpful it will be to the elves after taking it, and it can also make the training effect of the elves better. The long-term use of the special energy cube can even improve the attributes of the elves. When the people heard this, their eyes became a little unbelievable, and they looked at Su Liang with some doubt. I didn't expect that a food could have such an effect. Su Liang also noticed the expressions of the people and continued, "Of course, what level of energy cube to eat depends on the strength of the elves. If the strength is not enough, and the energy in the energy cube cannot be absorbed, then let alone help, it may be harmful to the elves. The people nodded and didn't ask more about the energy cube. Boss, what are the elf balls and elf illustrations on it? Sakura pointed at the paper and looked at Su Liang curiously. It's hard to introduce these two things. Let me demonstrate them to you first. After saying that, Su Liang took out Dragonite's Poké ball from his body. Dragonite, come back first. Swoosh. Then a beam of light appeared on the Poké ball and shot at Dragonite, and then Dragonite disappeared. Seeing this scene, several people were extremely surprised, and the air around them became quiet. If it weren't for the elves next to them still playing, they would probably think that time had stopped. Brother Su Liang, are you a magician? Can you make things disappear? After a while of silence, Naruto looked at Su Liang with admiration. Hearing Naruto's words, the corners of the mouths of the people around him twitched twice, and each of them was speechless. Ahem. After the embarrassment, Kakashi rolled his eyes at Naruto and looked at Su Liang curiously. Mister. Su Liang, is this something to hold elves? Su Liang nodded. You can say that, but I think it's more like a house for elves. Don't look at the small size of the elf ball, but there is enough space for elves to move and live in it. Then, Mr. Su Liang, can this thing store other items? Kakashi's lips trembled twice. Su Liang shook his head. Kakashi, I know what you are thinking, but unfortunately, no, the elf ball can only be used to hold elves. Okay. Shaking his head with some regret, Kakashi didn't say anything more. Su Liang released Dragonite, and then bought a elf encyclopedia from the mall. Several people watched Su Liang take out a device again, and looked over with curiosity. This is the elf encyclopedia, and I'll try its effect for you. Su Liang said, as he picked up the elf encyclopedia and scanned Pikachu. Pikachu. Gender, female. Classification, mouse Pokémon. Attribute, electric. Feature, lightning rod. Immune to most electric attacks. Own attribute attacks are improved. Level 5, apprentice ninja. Skills, tail shaking, electric shock barking. As Su Liang scanned, the Pokémon book made a sound, and Pikachu's appearance and information appeared on the screen. This can detect Pokémon information. Looking at the contents of the Pokémon book, Kakashi said in astonishment. Naruto and the others beside him also looked at Su Liang in disbelief. Su Liang nodded, that's right. What is this feature and level? And the apprentice ninja? Kakashi continued to ask. Characteristics can be regarded as the talents of elves. Even if they are the same elves, their characteristics will be different. Of course, characteristics can be high or low. Kakashi, you are very lucky. Lightning Rod is a characteristic with a very low probability of appearing. Kakashi also nodded. Even if he didn't understand, he could tell from the introduction. Immune to most electrical attacks, and can also improve his own attribute attacks. Su Liang continued, the level is easy to understand. It is the division of the strength of the elves. The apprentice ninjas behind the level are the strength comparison between you ninjas. Kakashi nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Brother Su Liang, help me scan Bulbasaur. Listening to the conversation between the two, Naruto couldn't help but become curious and spoke to Su Liang. Su Liang didn't refuse. He picked up the elf illustrated book again and scanned Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur. Gender, male. Classification, seed Pokémon. Attribute, grass poison. Feature, lush. The lower the HP, the stronger the grass attribute attack, up to double the maximum. Level 7, Intern Ninja. Skills, impact, call, parasitic seed. Hahaha, my Bulbasaur is level 7. Pikachu teacher's eyes is even more powerful. Looking at the information above, Naruto laughed happily, and the people around him didn't know what to say. Kakashi ignored Naruto's words at this time. After seeing the characteristics of Bulbasaur, he understood the elves better. After seeing the skills, Kakashi thought to himself, the collision is the attack of the previous collision, the cry should be the one that affects the emotions, and the last parasitic seed is the one that makes the grass wither. Thinking of this, Kakashi looked at Su Liang again. Mr. Su Liang, is this elf's skill too few? The skills of the elf depend on the level. When the level is high, the skills of the elf will be more. As he said, Su Liang picked up the elf illustration and scanned Dragonite. After seeing the panel of Dragonite, Naruto said to Su Liang in surprise, "Fuck, brother Su Liang, 10, 20, almost 30 skills so powerful, and the level is also 90. The people around him also widened their eyes, almost popping their eyes out. Sakura covered her mouth and didn't know what to say. She didn't believe it before, but now she found it to be true. Even Kakashi, who had guessed it before, was the same. His eyes were full of solemnity, and there was some fear in the depths of his eyes when he looked at Su Liang. Sasuke was even more excited at this time, and he clenched his fists when he looked at the little fire dragon in his arms. Okay, you all understand these things. Do you have anything else to ask? Several people shook their heads and then didn't ask any more questions. They bought some things and left here. Not long after, at the door of the wooden house, Su Liang looked at the backs of several people, waved with a smile on his face and said, "Everyone, come again next time." He was so happy in his heart. Just now, the four of them sold 3 Pokémon illustrated books, 4 Pokéballs, and 7 bags of low-level energy cubes. According to his price, Pokéballs are 2,000 taels each, the ordinary red and white balls. And Pokémon illustrated books are 5,000 taels each. All these add up to 30,000 taels. Buying these things is free, it just consumes some points. And the points consumed are not many. Pokéballs are 100 points, Poké illustrated books are 200 points, and the total is not even 1,500 points. But it's a pity that Naruto is too poor, otherwise he can earn 6,000 taels more. It's a good thing that Kakashi and the others don't know about this idea at this time, otherwise they would probably look at Su Liang with the eyes of a devil. Naruto is almost emptied, and you are still thinking about these. Entrust a plot character Pokémon, reward points 1,000, bronze exclusive treasure, chest *1. Entrust a plot character elf, reward points 1,000, bronze exclusive treasure, chest *1. Entrust a plot character elf, reward points 1,000, bronze exclusive treasure, chest *1. Just then, 3 voices sounded in his mind, and Su Liang's smile became even bigger. Host, 3 bronze exclusive treasure chests are detected. Do you want to combine them? Not yet. After saying that, Su Liang looked at the woods next to the cabin. I hope it can stay this peaceful. Then he shook his head and turned to enter the cabin. As Su Liang left, several masked ninjas appeared in the place where he had just been watching. Captain, have we just been discovered? The man with the fox mask nodded. Let's go back first. Swoosh. Then the figures of several people flashed and disappeared into the woods. Chapter 13. Kakashi and his companions returned to the central area of Konoha after leaving Su Liang's small mountain. Arrogant Sasuke, let's have a competition. My Bulbasaur must be better than your Charmander. Sasuke had a blank expression on his face and a calm look in his eyes. You. Ah. Seeing this look, Naruto couldn't help but get angry and rushed up to duel with Sasuke. Kakashi's eyes trembled when he saw this, and he quickly grabbed Naruto. If you want to fight, go to the training ground. This is not the place for you to make noise. HMPH. Naruto snorted and then looked at Sasuke again. Let's go, duel. Sasuke nodded and turned to walk towards the training ground. He also wanted to understand all aspects of Charmander, and the fastest way to understand was to fight. Teacher Kakashi, are they really okay like this? Looking at the two people leaving, Sakura was a little stunned and looked at Kakashi in confusion. Let them go, Sakura. You just watch them. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. After saying that, Kakashi left here with a swish. Sakura looked at everyone a little dumbfounded, then reacted and quickly chased in the direction of Sasuke and Naruto. Soon, the three of them arrived at the training ground. Naruto looked at Sasuke on the opposite side. Arrogant Sasuke, today I will let you see how powerful Naruto is. He carefully took out the Pokeball from his waist, pressed it, and the Pokeball instantly became larger and then threw it forward. Come out, Bulbasaur. Sasuke on the opposite side looked at him coldly, without answering anything, and then took out his Pokeball and released Charmander. As the two Pokémons were released, their eyes became serious. Sasuke glanced at Bulbasaur and began to command. Charmander, get close to Bulbasaur and use grab. Ow tilde. Charmander nodded and quickly approached Bulbasaur. A transparent light appeared on its claws and attacked Bulbasaur on the opposite side. Naruto didn't just watch. Bulbasaur, let's dodge. Gar night tilde. Bulbasaur's eyes changed when he heard this, and his body moved to the side to avoid Charmander's attack. Impact. Looking at Bulbasaur's movements, Naruto commanded again. Bulbasaur turned his body when he heard Naruto's voice and quickly rushed towards Charmander. Charmander, jump up, use the cry in the air, and then quickly use grab. Charmander reacted quickly when he heard Sasuke's voice, looked at Bulbasaur crashing towards him, and jumped high with his legs bent. Then he said to Bulbasaur below, Ow tilde. With Charmander's voice, Bulbasaur's body trembled and its movements paused. At this time, Charmander fell to the ground and took the opportunity to grab Bulbasaur. Gar night tilde. After taking a blow, Bulbasaur showed a painful expression and shouted angrily. His body was tense, ready to attack again. Bulbasaur, are you okay? But before launching the attack, Naruto's eyes became worried, and he ran forward quickly, looking at Bulbasaur and said, Gar night tilde. Bulbasaur shook his head and continued to look at Charmander. Idiot. Sasuke shook his head and then walked to the side with Charmander. Instead of wasting time here, it's better to train your own Charmander. Naruto stood up again angrily after hearing what Sasuke said. Arrogant Sasuke, come again, I will definitely defeat you. Sakura was relieved when she saw this, and then shook her head and said, Naruto, come on, I'm going to train my little lucky egg too. At this time, not far from the training ground, the four people were watching everything that happened and were a little overwhelmed. Yeah, is this the unique summoning beast you mentioned? Yuhai Kurenai blinked her eyes and asked you next to her with some difficulty. At Ya's request, the team ran over before they had time to train after completing today's mission. But I didn't expect to see this scene. When did ninjas become like this? Not fighting but commanding battles. Also, why are they really summoning beasts that can use wood release? I always thought you was joking. But it's true. There really is such a summoning beast. And what about the summoning beast with Naruto on its tail on the opposite side? Why can't it even beat the one that can use wood release? He was also a little surprised at this time and swallowed his saliva. Nodding, he said, No. That's right, Naruto's summoning beast is the one I mentioned, but I don't know about Sasuke's summoning beast either. After hearing this, Yuhei Kurenai didn't ask any more questions and walked towards Naruto and the others. The three people behind him hurriedly followed when they saw this. Arriving at the place where Naruto and the other two were preparing for training, Kiba said, "Naruto." "Kiba, why are you here?" "And there are also teacher Kurenai, Hinata and Shino." Naruto looked back and said curiously. Sakura and Sasuke next to him also greeted him after seeing this. Kiba on the opposite